Hi, this is Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. And what we're going to make is a very large cake. And I will tell you, I have several large half-sheet cakes on my channel. In fact, I have 27 varieties of half-sheet cakes, which are 12 by 18, okay? Because that's the size of this pan. I have golden batters, yellow batters, red velvet, two-tone, marble, chocolate. Oh my gosh, I can't even list them all. But anyway, there's 27. If you don't like this one that we're working on today, please check out, because like I said, there's 27 half-sheet cake videos on my channel. Now this particular video is quite different than the other 27, and I'm going to tell you why. A lot of people would always write and say, gee, I've tried your from scratch half-sheet cakes and I love them, but could you do one where you use box cake, where you just open up a cardboard box and use them? So the more that I thought about it, well, I thought it is a good idea. So this video is for the people that don't want to do a large cake and do it by scratch, that it's quick, easy directions. Just go to your store, buy whatever brand of cake mix that you want, and make it with the ready-made cake mix. So let's get started. First up, again, I want to mention the pan, because I always get questions, what size and whatever. Again, it's 12 by 18. I heavily greased it and then I dusted it with flour. Now, if you want to go ahead and use your parchment paper, of course, feel free. Now, what we're making, though, is actually a white half-sheet cake. So this is just for a white cake, this particular brand, and you can use whatever brand that you like or you prefer, your grocery store carries. There's no synthetic colors and things like that. You will start off by needing 3 boxes of white cake mix, okay? And again, you can buy whatever company that you want, okay? So again, we're putting in those 3. Now, I would suggest to use a stand-up mixer. This is a large cake to be mixing batter by hand. I would suggest the stand-up for this, okay? I just want to kind of get that evened out a little bit, all right? The next step is so easy, because all you need is 3 3/4 cups of water. Now, by the way, I no longer put the recipe below the video, and I'm sorry about that, but I'll explain later. So hopefully I'll go clearly enough and slowly enough that if you want to jot it down, you can. So let's mention the water again then. You're going to put in 3 3/4 cups of water. And I'm just going to put it all in at one time, okay? You're also going to be putting in 1½ cups of oil. Now, use whatever type of oil that you prefer, because I really don't want to get into a debate. A lot of people have different preferences, don't like certain ones, so I'm going to leave it up to you to decide what 1½ cup of oil, the type of oil that you're going to be using. The next thing, of course, to keep this white battered cake very light is that there's no egg yolks. There's 15 egg whites that I separated, and then what I do is I take the yolks and put them in an airtight container and I freeze them. And I use the leftover egg yolks when I make breads or rolls to glaze them. There are so many recipes to make cakes with just with egg yolks and pound cakes. So I never throw out anything. I freeze them. So, but once again, bears repeating, 15 egg whites that I separated, and you want to keep them at room temperature And then we're really going to let the mixer do its job. I'm going to warn you about the sound because it can be loud. So I'll give you a heads up that you can lower your sound. And now you'll want to beat it at about medium speed, and anywhere from, oh boy, it could go 4 to 6 minutes. It really depends on your speed. You know, the speed that you put on to do this. But I find, like I said, within that 3 minutes, 4 minutes, if it looks really velvety smooth with no bumps or lumps, I stop it, because I don't like to overbeat things. I think it makes cakes very dense and heavy, and you don't want a white cake to be heavy or be dense. So watch the amount of mixing. Like I said, it could go up to 6, but I would probably stay closer to, you know, maybe 3, 4, something like that. But I give you a gauge because I don't know if you're going to use whatever speed, if you're going to use medium or slow or whatever, but medium would be the best. Okay, I'm going to warn you about the sound. And of course, I'm not going to beat it the full time because I don't want to bore you through this video. So I'm going to move it along, and then I'm going to raise my speed so that I can get it done. So I'll warn you about the sound. Raise my speed a bit more, past medium. Okay, and I normally would beat it longer than that, but you could hear I was raising my speed all the way up. And then now I'm just making sure that nothing's sticking on the bottom or the sides with my spatula. And then I'm going to just put it on for just a few more seconds more, so I'll warn you about the sound. And again, normally would I beat at that high a speed? Of course not. I put the towel over it because, of course, I don't want to be, you know, me in the kitchen all splashed with the cake batter. Okay, so we're going to take our paddle out, take off our excess, get that out of the way, and I'll put this aside. All right, now with my large spatula, just going to bring over my 12 by 18 pan, and I like to just go from side to side. I like to get it all out because, you know, it's so expensive these days to bake, and yet it's so much better, I think, when you bake your own if you have the time. And then just smooth it out, make sure that it's as even as possible. And I don't want to waste any, so I want to use that up. And you could see how really silky it was. There's really no lumps or bumps or that kind of thing. And I'm just going to take off my excess. Okay. And then I would suggest to tap your pan. And particularly tap the sides too. We tend to just kind of, you know, tap the whole thing, but tap the sides as well. Now you can get some bubbles, all right, with this cake, and I found that. But it usually doesn't matter once that you put frosting on top of it, or most of the time you're leveling it off anyway, so who knows and who sees it. But anyway, you know, tap it to kind of break those air bubbles. And the sides of the pan too. Okay, now you're going to put that in a 325 degree oven, and it could take you anywhere from, oh my gosh, anywhere from 29 minutes to 32 minutes. You know, it might even take your oven longer. Sometimes mine go, you know, almost close to 35 minutes. It really depends. You know, all our ovens set up so differently, so you know your oven. You know how it performs in its baking. But, you know, you don't want to over check it either, because you don't want the cake to deflate on you either. But I really do start checking mine in about, at least in about 22 or 23 minutes. I kind of take just a tiny little peek at it and see how it's doing. And then, you know, of course, use your cake tester or a toothpick to see that it's cooked, and that when you just lightly touch it, it'll spring up back for you. And put it on a cooling rack and let it sit there for that 15 or 20 minutes to let it cool before, of course, you frost it, or however that you're going to garnish it, or that kind of thing. So I'm going to just, and I'm going to be tapping that a little bit more, but I don't want you to have to hear that kind of sound on your end. So I'm just going to get rid of this for the moment. I think I'll just put it right here. And I'm going to wash my hands real quick here, because I was working with egg whites there, and I don't want to touch a cake with hands with egg whites on them. But anyway, this is how it's going to turn out. I just put actually a clean kitchen towel over it, so that just to keep it, and you know, covered and safe. And this is how it'll turn out. You will have a nice golden brown on the edges and on the top, that type of thing. If you do end up with the little bubbles or whatever, like I said, the time that you start leveling it, or if you don't level it, you put your frosting on top of it, no one will even see that, okay? And you know, it has a beautiful spring to it. I don't know if you can see that, but it really does. It has a beautiful spring back on it. It's very light, very delicate. And again, you're going to be using your cake mix, your brand that you rely on and that you trust. So there you have it. You've got a half a sheet white large cake, great for parties, church social, baby showers, weddings, graduation parties, whatever. It's a great tasting cake, and if you've had, again, that brand of cake mix and you like it, I think you're really going to like this cake. But again, this video is more for just to show and illustrate to use a box mix to make such a nice large cake. So there we have it. I want to thank you for watching Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. If you try this recipe and give it a try, well, I'd love to hear from you. I also want to remind you to please solely watch me on YouTube, because that's the only place that I put my videos on. So when you write to me, I will get your question or your comment, and I'll do my very best to answer in a timely fashion. And very quickly, the reason I don't put the recipe below anymore, and I'm not alone on this, that's for sure, but it's frustrating when you get your work pinned and posted and people claim your work, and then I see there's questions or comments and I can't answer you. It's very frustrating. So it's not worth the time anymore. So hopefully I went through the directions slow enough that you could definitely get them and jot them down, okay? Now, if you're so inclined and you'd like to subscribe to the channel, well, I can't thank you enough. Or ring the bell, or give me a like. Thank you for watching Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. Stay well, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.